The quaint town of Wyverndale was shrouded in darkness, as if the night had decided to linger longer than usual. In this small farming community, Emily Thorne, a 14-year-old girl with a curious mind and brave heart, lived with her grandmother, Edith Thorne, a woman shrouded in as much mystery as her large, secluded farm. On this particular night, a piercing boom echoed through the quiet streets, shaking homes and startling residents from their sleep. In the Thorne household, the impact was felt most acutely. Emily bolted upright in her bed, her heart pounding as she registered the vibrations coursing through her room. She knew instinctively that something terrible had happened. Grabbing a flashlight, Emily darted across the cold wooden floor of her grandmother's old farmhouse, her steps echoing in the silent house. She reached for her grandmother's door, finding it ajar and the room ominously empty. A surge of panic rose within her as she called out, "Gran? Gran, where are you?" But only silence greeted her. With her flashlight trembling in her hand, Emily stepped outside, her breath visible in the chilly air. The farm, usually a place of solace and mystery under her grandmother's careful tending, felt different tonight, hostile, as though it held secrets too dark for the night to hide. Emily's beam of light caught on something unusual, a trail of strange, shimmering dust leading towards the back of the farm. Following it, she found herself at the edge of a newly formed crater, its edges still smoldering. In the center of the crater lay a twisted, metallic object, unlike anything Emily had ever seen. It was large, perhaps the size of a small car, with a surface that seemed to absorb the light around it, casting eerie shadows. The air was thick with a strange, electric scent that made the hairs on her neck stand on end. This was no ordinary event. Emily's gut twisted with the realization that this could only be the work of aliens, a thought that both terrified and fascinated her. Tears welled up in her eyes as the implication sank in. Her grandmother was missing, and this bizarre object might be the cause. Fueled by a mix of fear and determination, Emily returned to the house, her mind racing with questions. Who were these aliens? Why had they come to her grandmother's farm? And most importantly, where was Edith? Inside, Emily stumbled upon her grandmother's study, a room usually kept locked. Tonight, it was strangely open. Searching for any clue to her grandmother's whereabouts, Emily discovered a series of journals and odd devices that seemed out of place for an ordinary farmer. Among these items, a book titled The Dragon Keeper's Manual caught her eye, its cover worn and pages filled with notes in her grandmother's handwriting. As Emily leafed through the pages, a chilling realization dawned on her. Her grandmother was no ordinary farmer. She was a keeper of secrets and protector of mythical creatures that should have been extinct dragons. This revelation explained the unusual security around the farm and perhaps why the aliens had come. With her grandmother missing, Emily knew that the responsibility to protect these incredible creatures and uncover the truth about the aliens' intentions now rested on her young shoulders. Armed with the shocking revelation that her grandmother was a dragon farmer, Emily spent the rest of the night poring over the Dragon Keeper's Manual and Edith's journals. Her eyes were heavy with exhaustion, but fear and adrenaline drove her forward. The text was dense, filled with arcane knowledge and guidelines on dragon care, their diets, and the enchantments required to keep them hidden from the modern world. Emily's mind reeled. Dragons were supposed to be the stuff of legends, yet here she was, stepping into a legacy that linked back to the mythical. As dawn broke, Emily decided it was time to see the truth for herself. She grabbed a sturdy coat and a flashlight, then headed towards the part of the farm she'd always been forbidden to explore, the western fields behind the dense thicket. The manual included a cryptic map that showed a hidden path leading to what Edith referred to as the sanctuary. Navigating through the thick underbrush, Emily found the path just as the map had shown. It led to an impressive iron gate camouflaged by the overgrowth. Emily recalled a sketch from the manual, a view of the gate with a specific series of symbols etched onto its frame. Touching them in the sequence shown, the gate clicked open, revealing what lay beyond. The sanctuary was unlike any part of the farm Emily had ever seen. It was a lush valley hidden from the outside world by steep cliffs and dense mists. Within the valley, several large, dome-like structures were interconnected by a network of walkways and smaller, enclosed habitats. Each dome appeared to create its own microenvironment, simulating different climates from around the world. As Emily stepped closer, the ground vibrated slightly under her feet. Suddenly, a deep, resonant hum filled the air, and from one of the larger domes, a creature stepped out into the morning light, a real, live dragon. Its scales shimmered in shades of emerald and gold, and it regarded Emily with intelligent, curious eyes. The creature was majestic, nearly the size of a small bus, with powerful wings folded against its back. The dragon didn't seem surprised to see Emily. Instead, it approached her slowly, as if aware of her connection to Edith. Emily stood still, almost breathless with awe and fear. To her astonishment, the dragon lowered its head, allowing her to touch its cool, smooth scales. The connection was immediate and profound. Emily felt a surge of emotions from the creature: loneliness, confusion, but also a gentle welcome. Overwhelmed yet determined, Emily ventured further into the valley, discovering 4 more dragons, each varying in size and coloration, from fiery reds to deep blues. Each dragon had its unique habitat, tailored to its environmental needs and preferences. The manual explained that these creatures were the last of their kind, each a vital keeper of the planet's ecological balance. The realization that her grandmother was not just a farmer but a guardian of these mythical beings made Emily's resolve to find Edith even stronger. She knew that the aliens had come for the dragons, perhaps knowing their magical properties or their role in Earth's balance. Armed with her newfound knowledge and driven by the need to protect these creatures and rescue her grandmother, Emily returned to the farmhouse to prepare. She gathered her grandmother's notes, any magical artifacts she could find, and the essentials for a rescue mission. If the aliens had taken Edith because of the dragons, Emily was going to bring her back, no matter what it took. As she set out to uncover more about the alien technology and their whereabouts, she knew her life was about to change forever. The next morning, Emily awoke with a determined spirit, her mind replaying the events of the previous days. As she ate a hasty breakfast, her gaze kept drifting to the metallic object still lying in the smoldering crater. She knew that understanding this alien technology could be key to finding her grandmother. Clutching the Dragon Keeper's manual, Emily prepared herself for the inevitable confrontation. Her first stop was the crater, where the alien object lay. As she approached, the humming intensified, a sound that seemed to resonate with the core of her being. The device was unlike anything on Earth, with surfaces that shifted between opacity and transparency. Emily reached out tentatively, half expecting it to be hot to the touch, but it was surprisingly cool and smooth, vibrating under her fingers as if alive. The manual didn't mention anything about alien technology, but it did offer guidance on magical wards and barriers. Emily remembered a section about using dragon scales as conductors for magical energy. Speculating that the same might apply to alien energies, she retrieved a small scale she had found the previous day. When she placed the scale near the device, the humming abruptly changed pitch and a holographic interface appeared, filled with indecipherable alien script. Puzzled but intrigued, Emily experimented with the interface, touching various symbols. Suddenly, a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy sprang up, with one planet blinking ominously. It was not Earth, but it seemed to be the source of the signal controlling the device. As Emily pondered her next move, she heard a rustling behind her. She spun around, only to find one of the smaller dragons, a sleek, silver one that had followed her from the sanctuary. The dragon, which seemed fascinated by the device, emitted a low purr-like sound that resonated with the device, causing the map to zoom in on the alien planet. Emily realized that the dragons might be able to communicate or interact with the alien technology in ways she could not. Inspired by this discovery, she decided to bring the dragons into her plan more directly. Returning to the sanctuary, she gathered the dragons, explaining her need for their help with a heartfelt urgency that transcended language. With the dragons' curious and intelligent eyes on her, Emily laid out her plan. They would use the device to open a portal, hoping it would lead to where the aliens held her grandmother. The dragons, understanding the stakes involved, agreed to assist, their deep growls and nods conveying their assent. Back at the crater, Emily, with the help of the dragons, manipulated the device further. The silver dragon, now clearly pivotal to the operation, sang a haunting melody that seemed to act as a command, triggering the device to expand, forming a shimmering portal. As the portal stabilized, revealing a view of a stark, metallic corridor, Emily steeled herself. This was what she had been preparing for. With a deep breath, she stepped through the portal, followed by the dragons, into the unknown confines of the alien ship. The interior of the ship was cold and unwelcoming, lit by a harsh, artificial light. They moved stealthily, the dragon's presence an oddly calming influence in the sterile environment. As they navigated the corridors, they avoided patrols of alien creature slender beings with glossy, opaque skin and eyes that reflected a starless sky. Finally, they reached what appeared to be a holding area. Behind a transparent barrier, Edith was visible, looking wearied but unbroken. She caught sight of Emily, and a slow smile spread across her face, mixed with surprise and fierce pride. Emily and the dragons did not hesitate. Utilizing a combination of dragon fire and the alien device, which Emily had brought along, they melted the barrier. As the reunion unfolded, with tears and laughter, the realization that they were not yet safe dawned on them. The sound of alarms began to blare, and they knew they had to escape quickly. Racing back to the portal with Edith in tow, Emily felt a mixture of relief and fear. They were almost home, but the journey had just begun. As they stepped back through the portal, the alien ship looming ominously behind them, Emily knew that this encounter was only the first skirmish in what might become a larger battle. But for now, they were together, and that was what mattered. As Emily, Edith, and the dragons emerged from the portal back onto Earth, the cold, alien light of the spaceship gave way to the warm hues of dawn breaking over Wyverndale. The air was fresh and filled with the scent of morning dew and grass, a stark contrast to the sterile atmosphere they had just escaped. Emily felt the weight of her grandmother's hand on her shoulder, a comforting presence as they watched the portal shrink and finally disappear, taking the alien device with it. Standing amidst the remnants of the crater, Edith looked around at her dragons, now visible to her for the first time since her abduction. With a tender smile, she reached out to stroke the silver dragon that had played a pivotal role in their rescue. The creature nuzzled against her, its deep, purring vibrations resonant with relief and affection. "Emily, you've done more than just save me," Edith said, turning to face her granddaughter, her eyes gleaming with pride and a hint of sorrow. "You've stepped into your role far earlier than I had ever hoped. The dragons in our world will need you now more than ever." Emily felt the gravity of her grandmother's words settle over her. She had started this journey as a girl looking for her missing grandmother, but she had returned as a guardian of some of Earth's most ancient and powerful creatures. She understood now that the aliens might return, drawn by the magical essence of the dragons, which was necessary to maintain the balance of nature on Earth. Edith led Emily and the dragons back to the sanctuary, explaining more about her role as a dragon keeper. "These dragons are the last of their kind, Emily. They are not just magnificent beasts, they are essential to the ecological and magical balance of our planet. The aliens, I fear, want to harness their power for reasons we must still uncover." Over the next few weeks, Edith trained Emily in the ancient arts of dragon care and protection. They fortified the sanctuary with new magical defenses, drawing on both the knowledge in the Dragon Keeper's manual and the advanced technology Emily had salvaged from the alien device before its disappearance. Emily learned to communicate more deeply with the dragons, discovering that each had unique abilities that could be key in defending against further alien threats. The silver dragon, whom she named Argent, became her constant companion, often perched on her shoulder or flying above as she walked the grounds of the farm. But peace was short-lived. Soon, reports of strange occurrences, crop circles, mysterious lights, and unexplained weather patterns began to surface around Wyverndale. It was clear that the alien interest in Earth was not a passing whim. Armed with her new knowledge and the dragons by her side, Emily prepared to face whatever challenges came next. One evening, as Emily walked through the sanctuary under a twilight sky, she felt a stirring in the air, a change in the energy around her. The dragons became restless, and Emily sensed their unease. She climbed to the highest point of the valley, Argent at her side, and looked out towards the horizon. There, backlit by the setting sun, a new, larger portal began to form, this time not in the secluded confines of the farm but visible to the outside world. Emily knew that this was the beginning of a new chapter, not just for her but for all of Earth. She stood firm, ready to protect her home and the dragons, as the first silhouettes of alien ships began to emerge from the portal. With a deep breath, she turned to Argent, her voice steady with resolve. "Let's show them that Earth is not without its guardians." Together, Emily, Edith, and the dragons stood ready to defend their world, knowing that the battle was just beginning but that they were not alone. They were the guardians of Earth, protectors of its most ancient secrets and defenders against those who would seek to exploit them. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: they would face it toe-to-toe.